Hello, children. A big, loving welcome to our very own channel, Ammu&You, where Ammu is, as always, eager with a new story narration for all of you. I pick up stories, the ones that I really love, and I feel that you all should know those stories. So today I have got a story from a very famous and wonderful author, Ruskin Bond. And the name of the story is Monkey Trouble. Now, this is a story where the narrator is narrating the story. So here, I would be the narrator, right? Grandfather bought Tutu from a street entertainer for the sum of mere 10 rupees. The man had 3 monkeys, and Tutu was the youngest. Now she was tied most of the time, and with a collar and a chain, she really looked miserable. Grandfather just did not like seeing her so and decided that it would be much happier in our own home. Yes, the author's home. So he bought the monkey from the street entertainer, the monkey wala, and took him home. Now, grandfather had already a big penchant for having unusual pets. He had all sorts of pets. You know what all he had? A squirrel, goat, white mice, and he even had a small tortoise. Now, with a monkey in his possession, sitting on his shoulder, he brought it home. Oh my God, said grandmother. I do not want another pet, and especially a wicked monkey in the house. I said, but I don't have any monkey. I want one. You're wicked enough for 2, and 1 boy in the house is all I can take. Ah, but Tutu isn't a boy, said my grandfather, triumphant. She's a girl monkey. Now grandmother gave in. She had always wanted a little girl in the house. She believed that girls were less troublesome than boys. Tutu was to prove her wrong. She was a pretty little monkey. Her bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and her teeth, which were pearly white, were often revealed in a grin that frightened the wits out of Aunt Ruby. She already was very scared of grandfather's pet python. But this was grandfather's house, and all the uncles and aunts had to put up with our pets. Tutu's hands had a very dried up look. One of the first things that I taught her was to shake hands. And this she instead insisted on doing with all who visited the house. No one could enter the drawing room without shaking hands with our Tutu. And often peppery Major Malik would refuse to budge and walk in. And you know what Tutu would do? She would climb onto the shoulder, stay there, roughening up his hair and playing with his mustache. Now, Uncle Benji did not stand any of our pets. He did not like any of them. And Tutu would keep making faces at him. Because you know, children, when you like someone, you are also liked. If you don't, and obviously don't, that creature also does not like you. Now, Tutu's fingers were very quick and wicked, and with her tail adding to her good looks, she would use it to hang from a branch and was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of her hands. Now, Aunt Ruby was extremely scared of Tutu and did not like her one bit. But what could she do? She would be a regular visitor to our house and just had to put up with Tutu. Now, grandmother objected to Tutu being given the run of the house because Tutu would go to the bathroom and have a nice warm tub bath. She would be scrubbing herself to glory and enjoy the bath like anyone else. One day, Uncle Benji's hairbrush went missing. And children, where was it found? Our Miss Tutu was using it to scratch her armpits, lying leisurely under the sun. I had to take it away and apologize to Uncle Benji while returning it back. Now, there was enough space for Tutu to find bananas, biscuits, green peas, sweet peas that were all growing in the garden, and not only our garden, but our neighbor's garden as well. And that would really annoy the neighbors. But no one could do anything because our Tutu was very, very fiercely protected by grandfather, and no one could say anything to the grandfather. One day, you know what? Aunt Ruby came to the house and did not find Tutu anywhere. She thought Tutu would be somewhere out. But children, you know where Tutu was? She was taking a nice soap bath in the hot tub. And after a long bath, when she came out of the tub, she was feeling very cold. Now, to dry herself up, she ran to the kitchen fire and tried drying herself up. Can you believe this? Tutu almost succeeded in boiling herself because grandmother had left a large kettle on the fire. And Tutu just reached there to get some warmth and was almost getting inside the kettle when grandmother walked into the kitchen and pulled him out of the kettle. The water had just begun to get warm. And imagine, children, what would have happened if our Tutu would be there inside the kettle with the water boiling. This was all sorts of mischief that Tutu was doing all around. Now, one day, Aunt Ruby took everyone by surprise. She came in and announced that she had become engaged. And she got her fiancé with her. His name was Rocky. He was a tall, good-natured man. And I just made him my friends because he always was here with chocolates and cashew nuts only for me. And it seemed that he had an unlimited supply of them. He also taught me several marching songs. So naturally, I approved of Rocky. Aunt Ruby won my grudging admiration for having made such a wise choice. One day, I overheard them talking of going to the market to buy an engagement ring. I decided to go along too. But Aunt Ruby did not like me and she did not want me to come along. So I followed her at a discreet distance. Tutu, becoming aware that a mission of some importance was underway, decided to follow me. And she too was clever enough to keep out of sight. Now, both of us, me and Tutu, managed to reach the bazaar without being spotted. We saw that Aunt Ruby and Rocky had entered the jeweler's shop, and Aunt Ruby was busy seeing all the rings. She was very happy, her face was beaming. I was just about peeping inside when Rocky saw me and waved at me, calling me out, "Hey, come and join us. Help your aunt choose a beautiful ring." What a waste of good money, I thought, but I did not say anything. "Look, aren't they so pretty?" I said, pointing out to some bright white metal. But Aunt Ruby was not even looking at them. She was immersed in a case of diamonds. "Why not a ruby for Aunt Ruby?" I suggested, trying to please her. "Ha, that's a lucky stone. But diamonds are the things for engagements," said Rocky. And Aunt Ruby really was so happy hearing him say such a wise thing. Now, while the jeweler and Aunt Ruby were busy sifting through the diamond rings, Rocky and I were busy looking here and there. Tutu had slipped into the shop without being noticed by anyone but me. She gave out a squeal of delight at the sight of so many interesting things around. And suddenly, I saw the shopkeeper making a grab at a pearl necklace that was happily adorning a mannequin. "Oh, it's that dreadful monkey!" That boy would have brought it here. Now the necklace was gone along with Tutu, and Tutu sat outside the shop somewhere along with the necklace. Everyone ran after Tutu, especially Rocky, dodging everyone, chased him. He had to retrieve the necklace. The jeweler was shouting. It was an expensive one. The jeweler left his shop and ran after us. Rocky was running. Several bystanders who had seen the incident, they did not know what was all about. They also started running. And everyone follows the follow leader, as my grandfather always said. We saw everyone following everyone. Now Tutu made a big leap and doing everything for that big escape. she helped a scooterist fall and find himself in the arms of an indignant fruit seller. Tutu picked up a banana, peeled it, and started eating it while on the run. Now Rocky was really getting very anxious. And our Tutu made an emergency landing on a washerman's donkey. The donkey panicked and rushed while bundles of washing clothes fell by the wayside. The washermen joined in the chase too. Children on their way to school decided that there was something better to do than attend classes, so they also went along following them. Tutu finally left the bazaar and took a road leading to the direction of our house. And knowing that she would be caught, she locked up once she got home. She thought that was what she would do. But you know what? She was very clever. She knew that the necklace would be taken away from her and she would get a nice beating. So what she did, she took the necklace and threw it into the muddy canal and ran away into the house. Now the jeweler, with a cry of anguish, plunged into the canal. Rocky too followed him, and so did I. And after good 20 minutes, a muddy, triumphant Rocky came out of the canal holding that necklace. He gave that necklace back to the relieved shopkeeper. Everyone trudged back to the bazaar to find Aunt Ruby waiting at the shop, still trying to make up her mind about a suitable engagement ring. Finally, the engagement ring was brought, the date was set for the wedding, and Aunt Ruby declared, "I don't want that monkey anywhere near us on our wedding day." "Don't worry," promised grandfather, because it was to be her wedding. "We'll lock her up in the outhouse, and we'll let her out only after you left for the honeymoon." A few days before the wedding, I found Tutu in the kitchen helping grandmother prepare the wedding cake. Imagine, children, Tutu often helped with the cooking, and grandmother wasn't looking, adding herbs, spices, and other interesting items to the pots, so that occasionally we found a chili in the custard, or an onion in the jelly, or a strawberry floating in the chicken soup. I'm not too sure what went into that wedding cake when grandmother wasn't looking. She insisted that Tutu was always very well behaved in the kitchen. But I did spot Tutu stirring in some red chili sauce, bitter gourd seeds, and a generous helping of eggshells. Children, all of this into a wedding cake. It's true that some of the guests were not seen for several days after the wedding, but no one said anything against the cake. Everyone thought that the cake had a unique flavor. The grand day arrived. Everyone was ready for the wedding. And now our Tutu was locked into a room. I had offered, though, to dress Tutu up as a bridesmaid and bring her along, but no one except grandfather agreed to this. Everyone thought that it was a ridiculous idea. So, children, Tutu had to be locked up in the outhouse. The wedding ceremony went without a hitch. Grandfather played the organ, and so did with such gusto that the small choir could hardly be heard. Grandmother cried a lot. I sat quietly in a corner with a little tortoise on my lap. The service was over. The feast was laden in the garden. Gardener had left in charge. Everything was in order. And the guests were having a grand time. Now, Aunt Ruby insisted that Tutu was not to be seen anywhere. But suddenly, Tutu was to be seen. How did Tutu reach there? Well, I always believed in ventilation, so I had kept the top ventilator of the room open. Tutu, the smart one, had found it open and had climbed out through it and was a part of the wedding feast. She followed the guests. She had climbed to the top of the jackfruit tree at one point of time, and she proceeded to pelt bits of wedding cake. She got hold of a bag of confetti, and when she ran out of cake, she showered us with confetti. Oh my God, please do something about this monkey. Ha! Everyone gave up the idea of chasing Tutu because the more you chase her, she would get more activated. So the festivities were finally over, watched by family and friends. Aunt Ruby and Rocky climbed to the back seat of their car and was ready to set out for their honeymoon. That, at grandfather's request, was arranged by Uncle Benji. It was at Missouri. As Rocky burst into a song, Uncle Benji opened the throttle and stepped on the accelerator because Uncle Benji was taking the newlyweds in his car to Missouri to drop them and come back. The car shot forward in a cloud of dust. Rocky and Aunt Ruby continued to wave to us, and so did Tutu. From her perch on the rear bumper, she was clutching a bag in her hands and showering confetti on all who stood in the driveway. They didn't know Tutu's with them, I exclaimed. She'll go all the way to Missouri? Well, Aunt Ruby let her stay with them. Tutu might ruin the honeymoon, said grandfather, but don't you worry. Our Benji will bring her back for sure. Children, what a funny story, and what a cute little monkey this Tutu was. Would you like a pet like her? Well, pets are all very cute, and I'm sure you remember to like, share, subscribe, share it with everyone that you know. And be kind to all animals, pets or no pets. They are very loving and they are as living creatures as we human beings are. Okay, so till I come again with another story for all of you. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye bye. Be good. Ammu loves you.